Hey everybody, good morning. So I am just videoing some resources for our YogaFit training systems online content, and this is going to be one of the master classes that we'll be able to do in the online training. You'll do it live with a trainer, and then you also have this additional resource from my personal YouTube page to access at any time. So this class is based on YogaFit Level 1 Foundations. It's an active flowing vinyasa style class using a yoga block and a yoga strap. The length of this class will be about 1 hour, so we're able to accommodate most of the times that our yoga classes are scheduled for. I know in a lot of our conferences we like to do these 90-minute and 2-hour master classes, but this will be a 1 hour class, which can be most accommodating in your gym, in your fitness center, your studio time slots for classes. So to get started, I'm using a cross mat today. That way I'll be able to turn in different directions and you'll get different angles of the pose. I'm using a large block. You could have a thinner yoga block if that's more comfortable. And I'm using a standard, it's called the stretch out strap that has loops in it. This is more of an OT, PT, so occupational therapy, physical therapy type strap, but you could really use any type of strap for this practice. I've even taken straps off of duffel bags and even like, just belts or sashes. You'll be able to use that as well for this training. So to begin, let's start standing in mountain pose. And we'll have our props just at the top of our mat so they're easy for us to access. Let's find a strong mountain stance, stepping the feet to about hips width. And hips width can be interpreted as the width of the pelvis bones. It could be the hip bone or even out to the fleshy hip. So allowing your body to interpret hips width for comfort. In order to find that comfy place, we might even bend the knees a little bit, seeing that the knees move in the same direction as our toes, as the same direction as probably the second, third, and fourth toe. Let's roll the shoulders down and back, tuning into our spa principles: firm foundation, firm base, core engagement, dynamic tension, spine is lengthened at neutral, hips are soft, neutral through the low back, knees are soft, elbows soft. At any time, we can shorten the lever length, so at any time we can keep the hands close to the body. Even when there's a suggestion to reach out or up, we can always keep the hands in close for comfort. Now, from wherever we are in our mountain foundation, let's establish a 3-part breath. Inhaling down into the belly, through the ribs, and up to the heart. Exhale, softening the heart, then the ribs, then the belly. And we might do this with a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. Exhaling, 3, 2, 1. You might count a little faster or even a little slower to meet the body where it is today. Option to close the eyes or keep the eyes open, no matter where we are, bowing the chin enough so that an egg could roll off our head. Maybe even visualizing the breath. Sometimes that helps to place the breath in the body. If we can see it all around us, and truly we are immersed in our breath right now. As we inhale, we might see the breath as this beautiful white light, this vaporescent energy that moves into the body, dropping down into the hips, moving up through the belly, the ribs, the heart, and then exhale, take it down and out from the hips and the pelvis. If you'd like to begin moving the arms with this, at any time you could begin flying your arms. If you know that you're taking care of a part of your body today, if there's a place that's healing, maybe just use this time placing a hand on that body part and breathing into that space. anytime, flowing arms with the breath. Move when your body wants stillness. Be still when the body wants to be still. Let's do a couple more with that 3-part breath. Arms flowing or arms still. One more big inhale. On the next exhale, let's swan dive down, hinging deeply through the hips, pressing the tailbone back. And let's pick up our yoga strap while we're down here. Let's step our feet out wide on the mat, turning the toes out into a plie position. Taking the strap out a little wider than the shoulders. So the technical positioning that I have for this is the song YMCA from the Village People. So if you just open up the arms as wide as if you're making a Y, take any excess line in that strap, especially if there's a buckle on your strap. Gather it up and hold it in your hands. Let's inhale, reaching up into 5-pointed star. And as we exhale, draw the strap down by the collarbones. Inhale, rising up, flowing moonflower with our strap. Inhale, rising up, option to lift a little more through the ribs. Introducing bits of thoracic extension. Maybe a couple more of these at any time, closing the eyes. And as we rely less on our physical sight, perhaps creating a little more insight in the practice. So instead of seeing what we're doing in the practice, making this more about feeling our way through a practice. And anything we experience emotionally is equally significant to physical sensation. So as we think about our essence of YogaFit, breathing, feeling, listening to the body, letting go of any judgment, competition, expectation, staying in the present moment. Inhale, adding in our sunflower flow, bringing the strap down. We might rotate through the shoulders and then add in a scoop with that sunflower, just a gentle scoop. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, down and around. At any time, we can make that circle smaller and even reverse it, shortening the lever length. Maybe one of each. Let's do one or two more of whatever feels right for your body. Either this moonflower flow or the sunflower scoops. Meeting in 5-pointed star. Keeping the strap aligned over the crown of the head. We could always bring the feet in. Maybe even lift up a little higher through the ribs. Back bend, opening the throat as a natural extension of the spine. When you're ready, bringing it to center. Exhale, let's bring the strap towards our body, meeting at the top of the mat with the feet at about hips width again. Hinging from the hips, let's bring the strap down under the feet, just below the toe line, feeling that the ball of the foot, the bulby flesh just below the toe, is able to press down into the earth. As we pull up on the sides of the strap, we're able to press out into the outer blades of the feet. Mula Bandha, pulling up through the pelvic floor, imagining a yoga block between the knees. And if you think you want to try both, you are welcome to also have the block. So the body's experience the sensation of pressing out. So we have expansion and pressing in with the knees, expansion and contraction. As we inhale, pulling up on our strap, Pada Bandha, truly pressing down into the earth, pulling up through the ribs, and then exhale, hinging back. Inhale, rising up, lifting through the ribs. Exhale, slowly sitting back. Chair flow, Utkatasana. Let's keep that chair flow going. Inhaling to lift and exhaling to lower. For those of you who are live, I think you probably can hear my dog talking to me in the background. She thinks I'm teaching to her today. Inhale, rising up, and then exhale back. Let's try just 2 more. Continuing to flow easy. Don't jump. 1 more. Inhale, and then exhale, sitting back. Option to hold chair pose. Inhaling, holding in place, squeezing the knees tight as we exhale. Continuing to hold chair pose. From here, slowly coming up, let's release our strap and release the block down at the front of the mat if you've been using it. Inhaling the arms up and overhead, big breath in. Let's flow the arms maybe 3 more times, tuning into that 3 count breath. Inhaling 1, 2, 3. Exhaling 3, 2, 1. Just 1 or 2 more. Last 1. Let's inhale the arms up and overhead. Exhale, swan diving, hinging from the hips. Hanging nice and loose. Let's shake the head, yes. And turn it left and right. Maybe even breathing from the throat. When you're ready, let's step 1 foot back and lower the knee. And then step the other back, lowering both knees down towards the floor. Pressing the hips back towards the hips. Let's take our yoga block from the top of the mat and maybe lower it down to the lowest position possible. Extending the arms out on top of the block. We're just gently working with a little bit more shoulder flexion before we're doing a lot of weight bearing. Allowing the head to hang loose. I can tell this one isn't going to make the cut for YouTube, but this is good. We'll keep going for Facebook Live. Exhaling from the throat. When you're ready, shifting forward to find all 4s. Let's take the yoga block between the knees and the thighs. And I like to place it in the most narrow position. But you are welcome to take the block out a little wider if that feels better for your body. Let's find our stacked joint shoulder, elbow, wrist alignment. So if you're able to see this from the side, we have the knees under the hips and we have shoulder, elbow, wrist alignment. As we inhale, let's drop the belly, moving into cow. Thighs are soft. Then engage the thighs, squeeze in and roll the spine for cat, dropping the head. Hinging from the belly, soft on the inhale, lengthening out. Squeezing the thighs, exhale, rolling the spine. Just a couple more like this. And of course, at any time, if there's any movement at all where we perhaps discover a sensation that we want to study, we could just pause at any point during that range of motion, examining those sensations and deciding for ourselves, do we want to move through that sensation? Do we want to move away from it? Do we want to pause and watch for any changes? Ultimately, as we Notice different sensations. We always have a choice. We always have a choice. We have decisions to make based on how we feel. And that's not only true in our yoga practice. This is a concept that carries off the mat and out into the world. We always have a choice. Exhaling, inhaling. Let's meet in neutral spine. From here, taking the block to the top of the mat. Shifting back through the hips. We may want to keep the block between the thumbs or just by the fingertips. As we inhale, let's shift forward into a kneeling plank, hovering the chest over the block. We can exhale, elbows in tight, and then inhale, pressing up, allowing the block to guide us through our yogi push-up, chaturanga, ensuring that we keep shoulders higher than the elbows, protecting the rotator cuff. We could even close the eyes now that we have this external tool to feel for. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3. Exhaling, 3, 2, 1. Maybe keeping the prop in this lifted position or lowering down just one time. For many of us, we will be able to achieve that 90-degree angle in the shoulder through the elbow joint. Inhaling forward into our plank. Exhale, hovering down. And then inhale, lift, and exhale, press back. At some point, if you want to just rest the center of the sternum on the block and maybe hold chaturanga, you can. Let's do a couple more of these. Acknowledging those sensations of strength that are building in the upper body, the shoulders, the arms, the throat, all of these energies connected to the Shuddha, the throat energy, healthy communication both with ourselves and others. From here, let's look between our hands, shifting forward slightly, lifting one leg. Let's lunge it towards the front of the mat. Tucking our back toe, let's step forward, standing forward fold. And we may even use the block on the floor to create just a little more space for the lungs rather than compressing. Exhaling from the throat. Breathing easy. When you're ready, let's grab the block. Inhaling, reverse swan dive. Bring it up and overhead. Pressing the block between the hands. Holding it here. Extended mountain. When you're ready, inhale, sweep the arms back and open. Pressing that block behind us. So it's really common to have like a angle in the hands here. We're working on neutralizing the wrist while we're in our chest expansion here, rolling the shoulders in towards each other and continuing to open the chest. Let's get a side view of this just for a moment. Pressing the block away from the low back. We can hinge from the elbow joint, creating a tricep extension movement. Continuing to press into the block and noticing the harder we press, perhaps the more effort that we invest into this, the more we're able to create different sensations, perhaps feeling more work. So in that, knowing that we have the power to control right now, right here, with the effort, the intensity that we press into that block, we determine what feels right for us in the practice. Keep pressing back. 2, last one. Let's take the block around to center. Place it between the knees. Inhale, reaching the arms up and overhead. Exhale, sweep the arms back and around, palms up for chair. Option to lift the hands up towards the sky. Inhale, standing tall. Exhale, forward fold. Squeeze the block. Uttanasana. Exhale, relax. Inhale, rising halfway. Hands may draw up to the shins or the thighs. Exhale, relaxing again. Squeezing the block. Inhale, pressing into the feet. Pada Bandha. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, sweeping the arms back and around. Palms up. Maybe lifting a little higher or pressing in. One more time through that sequence. Inhale, reaching up tall. Exhale, squeeze the block. Mula Bandha. Pull up through the pelvic floor. Inhale, lifting halfway. Hands may go to the shins or place the hands on the thighs and make some space for the lungs and the ribs to move. Exhale, option to relax for a moment. Reverse swan dive. Exhaling into chair. Option to lift the heels as we're experimenting with holding chair pose. And noticing with the language of lifting the heels, if we went up really high right away, maybe just come down a little bit and start with just enough lift to get a credit card to slide under your feet. Practicing brahmacharya, moderation in all things. As the body adapts and becomes a little more still, squeezing into that block, lifting the heels a little higher, and then a little higher. When you're ready, dropping the heels, swan dive, forward fold. Let's release the block to the top of our mat, grabbing our yoga strap from the top of our mat. Inhale, reaching up and overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. Let's take the strap out just as wide as the armpit. So if you find the crease of the armpit by the shoulder, take it out just that wide and go ahead again. Gather up any slack in the line, especially if there's a buckle. But even if there's not a buckle, we don't want the strap to move and graze over your eyes. From here, let's lift the arms straight up and overhead. Big breath in. Moving into standing lateral flexion, pressing up through your right arm. Maybe coming a little bit over to the side. Notice when the other arm tries to drag down, pull against gravity, reaching straight up towards the sky. And breathe mostly, expanding breath mostly into that upper right lung. Think of trying to press the breath out against the ribs under the armpit. We could look up, straight ahead, or over to the left. One more big inhale. Bring it to center. Other side, reaching over. And again, noticing when there's a lean or a sway. Taking that left arm, engaging the energy under the armpit. Pectoralis minor, serrator, shoulders. Pressing more down into the outer blade of the left foot. Maybe looking up, ahead, or over to the right. Breathe mostly into the upper left lung. One more big inhale. When you're ready, bring it to center. From here, let's bring the strap down by the collarbone, stepping our left foot back, a casual stride for warrior one. Option to shorten the lever length, maybe just pressing out on the strap, creating some healthy tension in the shoulders. Option to bring it up, big inhale. Seeing that our right knee bends and it moves in the same direction as the second, third, and fourth toes. One more inhale. Exhale, turning that left heel in. Let's open up into warrior two. And for warrior two, I'm going to do a side view on this one. For warrior two, with that left foot back and that right knee forward, reaching back actively through both fingertips. And if your strap is shorter today, We can always bend the back arm and continue to lengthen with the front arm only. Let's look beyond the right fingertips. Turning our right palm up, actively reaching back, maybe walking that left hand up a little bit up on the strap and pulling down on the strap while we continue to lengthen through the side body. And maybe identifying even more of those opposing energies in our practice that help to create equanimity to the body. So that's our hatha practice, opposite energies coming together to give us that centered sensation. Inhaling, reaching towards the sky. Exhale, dropping the shoulder, pulling down on the strap a little bit. One more inhale. Exhaling to side angle. We might take our elbow to the thigh or maybe reach it towards the floor. Extending our top arm overhead. The strap will tell us if that top arm is too far back. The strap will pull on the collarbones. So to keep that alignment of the wrist to the elbow to the shoulder, and then to the other shoulder, elbow, and wrist, we have our strap moving just across the collarbones. If you feel it by your neck, your arm might be dropping overhead. So just bring it back. Option to look up, look straight ahead or look down, straightening out the right leg, triangle pose. Exaggerating the breath in the upper left lung. Maybe even trying that 3-part breath along the left side of your body, along the sides of the lungs. So breathe down to the left hip, through the left rib, up to the left shoulder blade. Hold the posture. Exhale. Fully breathing along the left side of the lung, the back of the lung. If we're noticing any tension at all in the neck, reposition the neck while we hold it here for just a couple more breaths. Let's move towards comfort. At your leisure, let's bend that right knee, rising up to warrior 2. Looking over the right fingertips, let's drop the left hand down, reaching towards the right hand, little bit of rotation in the trunk of the body. Reaching for the strap, pull back, drop the shoulder, and reach up with that right hand again, archer's pose. Breathing mostly up under the right rib. One more big inhale. Exhale, let's relax both hands. Turning the right toe in and left toe in. Let's find a standing straddle position. Using our strap, we could always maybe create more of a conservative stance for this stretch. Taking the strap again under the toe line, still pressing firmly against the ball of the foot. Continuing to press out into the strap, we hinge the hips back, soft through the knees, and maybe crisscross the strap. So now the body is able to interpret some expansion and contraction sensations that are moving more diagonal, probably just a little more curious plane to practice in. From wherever we are, we could stay with the hands supported on the knees, maybe even elbows on the knees, pulling up on the strap and pressing out through the feet. We could even straighten the legs, hands supporting on the shins. Engage the buttocks muscles, feeling the thighs rolling out. Exhale, option to lower down even more. Relaxing the back of the neck. Big exhales. Keeping those big exhales. Stay where you are. I'm going to look up so my voice projects. So staying where we are in the standing straddle. Oftentimes in forward folds, we practice sinking breaths or long exhales. Let's experiment with the expanding breath when we're in this pose. Expanding the breath behind the heart, under the shoulder blades. In our YogaFit Level 1 foundations, we do the expanding breath in the upper part of the chest with the heart, like a single lung lifting and opening forward. Let's try the expanding breath, accentuating the energy behind the heart, opening up anahata, the energy of unconditional love, an element of ahimsa, non-harming energy, no violence for mind, body, and spirit health. Practicing that expanding breath under the shoulder blades. One more. When you're ready, soften all together. Let's take our feet away from the strap. And from here, setting the strap down at the top of the mat, we'll walk the hands up slowly. Shake off the arms and the knees. Let's just give the body an opportunity without props to ground energetically through the soles of the feet. Let's take at least 5 to 10 breaths, like a little yoga intermission without any tension in the body. Notice if the wrists need to roll or if you need to kick off the feet a little bit, maybe even a few neck rolls. Maybe 2 or 3 more breaths here. Let's move into that same sequence that we just did. Let's experiment with that sequence with a yoga block instead of a strap. So the strap encourages a lot of expansive energy in the body, sponda energy. Let's use the block to encourage contraction or more internalizing sensation, mudya. So from here, let's hinge from the hips, coming down to grab our yoga block, taking it from the top of the sequence. We're holding the block at center, and it may be the elbows are out, or maybe pull the elbows in. The block can be angled in any way. Pressing into the block and maybe pressing under the armpits. Option to close the eyes, noticing where does the effort come from and where do those sensations move to. As we drop the chin and continue to press in, breathing around the heart, breathing into the back of the ribs, breathing down into the low back, lifting the chin, breathing here, noticing if that changes the sensations in any way. So we're working with the manipulation of throat lock in an effort to create just a little more awareness. When you're ready, reaching the arms up and overhead, pressing up through the arms. This time, let's step our left foot back, a casual stride. Warrior one, pressing into the block. Anytime, opening up into your expression of warrior two. And switch sides. If I happen to be doing the same leg, switch sides. Right foot back, left foot forward. Pressing into the block in warrior two. So often this pose has these elements of massive expansion, and some people don't like warrior two, and they think it's for physical reasons, but it could be that if there's a vulnerability energetically, that if we're feeling a little exposed when we're open, naturally, psycho-emotionally and physiologically, muscles will tense up in us. So we're able to open just with bits of openness. It's enough to open the legs. Press in through the palms of the hands into the block so the body is able to stay safe, perhaps kind of modulating any elements of vulnerability. Breathing, expanding breath, either in the front of the body or the low back or even behind the heart. Elements of expansion in the lower body, pull up through the pelvic floor, lengthen through the crown of the head. Element of contraction around the heart, protecting anahata. Taking this into reverse warrior. We could always take the block behind us by the waist and reach straight up with our outside arm. So as a teaching tool, speaking to teachers in our group today, you know when you have students who do this sort of compression back, when we place the block here, that helps to maintain space and lengthen the spine, preventing a lot of that active compression that can happen in the pose. It would also prevent students from dumping back and pushing in on their kneecap. Continuing to lunge forward, breathing into the upper lung. And if you've ever practiced with me before, you know the advanced version of this. In any practice that you have with me, the advanced version is lifting the edges of your mouth. Smile through it. Smile through it all. Big inhale. Exhaling side angle. Let's take our block. We might keep the side waist open with the block again, creating space and lengthen the trunk of the body. We could always hold it here, and while we have that healthy space, circle around the top arm. For those of us who know that our body really is craving triangle pose, straightening out the leg, we might keep pushing into the block to keep that length in the side body. And again, as a teaching tool, speaking to my teachers, you might notice sometimes that the body has a tendency to dump down, or we might even rotate in the pose. So the block is here in an effort to maintain length and space for the side body. We could even take the block down towards the floor, inside or outside of the leg. Option to look straight up. This would be the most stimulating to the nervous system, energetically speaking. We could look in alignment with the heart. We could look down at the floor, considered the most energetically grounding for the nervous system. Pulling up through the pelvic floor, enhancing the sensation of grounding, safety, security, all is well. When it feels right for you, let's bend through that knee. Slowly rising up. Let's turn both toes in. Option to keep it in that wide straddle stance this time around, or walk the feet in. The wider the legs, naturally the more compression it will put in the side hip joint. So for any individuals that are having maybe SI joint, piriformis issues, or sciatica, I recommend trying this first with a conservative stance. This way, maybe as we move in towards the midline, there could be a little more stability in the joint and less compression. From wherever you are, let's press the hips back, lengthen out through the spine, using the block as a tool to create a little more space, a little more length in the spine. And I am going to turn sideways for this one. So one of the most common misalignments that we discuss in our level 1 foundation training is the hips moving back behind the heels. So it puts the feet more so into plantar flexion, and it's not a neutral movement in the ankles, and it also can put a lot of tension behind the kneecaps. So we're encouraging the shift forward into the ball of the foot. And while we have the block, as we shift forward, we can keep pulling the tailbone up And then we feel that we press down into the earth. So we're able to identify those haka elements, those opposing energies. Tailbone and low back lifting energetically as we press down and back into the heels. We shift forward and down. Option to shake the head, yes. Turn it a little bit left and right. Perfect time for a lion's breath. Let's try 3. Inhale, tongue out. 2 more. Little more head shaking. I can't see you, but I know. More head shaking. Exhale. Get it all out. If you're homeschooling, extra. There you go. From wherever we are, let's walk the feet in. Softening through the knees. Let's bring our block up with us for a moment. Returning to center. Taking the block between the knees. Inhaling both arms up and overhead. Extended mountain at the top of the breath. Squeeze the block. Exhale into chair. Palms can be up. Sometimes this encourages shoulder depression and retraction. Option to lift the heels just a little bit. Just a little bit. So the energy shifts forward while the hips press down and back. Crown of the head lengthening high. Find those expansion and contraction energies with the sides of the ribs. Imagine flaring the ribs out and in as you breathe, expanding breath on the sides of the body. Using that expanding breath in the same way, if you imagine how a fish flares out its gills on the side of the body while filtering water, let's filter the breath through the side lungs. Sometimes this is a little more challenging, especially for women who we might have on some sort of shapewear or spandex. So pushing the side ribs against that resistance. Why is this important? Well, there are lymph nodes there. There are lymph nodes there under the armpits. So massaging against the lymphatic system, encouraging that drainage of lymph fluid. One more inhale. When you're ready, exhale, forward fold. Let's release that block to the top of the mat. And again, shake it out. Whew. Right, so let's use our block for our standing upright balancing pose. Moving into tree. For tree pose, just for today, let's put our block in any height, any position. So I have mine in the tallest position, and I'm taking the ball of my foot onto the block, and I am stepping a little bit forward and then opening up. So if you wanted to, you could have your foot beside the block. This way, when we open the knee, the heel would rest below the kneecap on the bone. You could do this most certainly, but if there's any pain or compression, any discomfort in the SI joint, sciatic nerve, lumbar spine, we could always keep it forward. Having the block in front of the body could create a little more comfort for the knee joint, less flexion on the knee. We might keep our hands at the heart center or out to the side or even overhead. Let's practice looking down past our cheeks. Lower the head enough so an egg could roll off your head. And just take the gaze out past the tip of your nose. Really, it's the mind that sees. The eyes take in frequencies of light and bits of information, but the brain organizes that information, turning it into more content. So seeing with the eyes, or not seeing with the mind, let's close the eyes and still see with the mind. See that point from the mind's eye. Naturally, when we close our eyes, the body might begin to sway or move a little bit. This is really a natural and common thing. If you allow the body to ever so gently lean into those sways, eventually we might notice almost this oscillation or this orbiting movement, like the body is orbiting around its center of gravity to maintain that feeling of balance. Just a couple more easy breaths here. Sensory integration, peripheral nervous system. When you're ready, open the eyes. You could always do this again on this one side, or take your time, stepping both feet to the earth, shift a little, giving the body an opportunity to interpret its center with both feet on the floor, and then at some point, either doing the same side or switching sides. So as a friendly reminder, we could have the foot on the inside of the block, and we can step up. You could stand behind the block and step forward, less knee flexion here. And of course, you can open to the side a little bit or lift the heel. No matter where we are with this, let's lower the chin. Jalandhara Bandha, throat lock. Resting the gaze past the nose, seeing with the mind, relying less on our eyesight and more on insight, insightfulness. So there's this saying in the yoga community, a lot of us show up for the workout, but really yoga is also about the work in. It's the insightfulness. Closing the eyes. Hands can go in any place. Relax any tension in the shoulders. Let it go. Parigraha. Let that go. Find the breath. A couple more easy breaths here. No rush. When you're ready, slowly releasing the feet. Shaking off the legs. Great. So from here, we're keeping our props close by on the mat, hinging from our hips, safely coming from standing towards the floor. We're hinging the hips back, reaching hands towards the floor. And if our block is in front of us, we could use it. Taking one foot back, lowering our knee. And then the other, we find all fours, pressing the hips back. Still working with shoulder flexion with palms of the hands on top of the yoga block. We could always hold it here, or maybe think about how long your own foot is. And take the yoga block and place it in front of the knees with that space of approximately the length of your own foot. Extending the arms forward, we might find downward facing dog here. Shifting forward, pressing back. The head might come down onto the block, actively pressing the hands into the earth. So the head is just grazing the block. As an alternative, we could shift forward into plank, lowering the hips and the pelvis. And this may help us to have a supported upward facing dog. Toes can stay tucked under, or we could untuck the toes, hovering the knees and the thighs, and reposition the block as needed. Accommodate your own personal comfort levels. Option to bend the elbows a little bit. Squeezing the elbows in towards the waist. Hi, Glory. Hello, Glory Lulu. Inhale, lifting the heart. ¿Cómo está, yoga dog? When you're ready, dropping the knees, lifting the hips, kneeling plank. Let's press back to child's pose. Option to relax the head and the neck. Practicing a couple more long exhales here. When you're ready, shifting forward. From all fours, let's take the feet over to one side and let the hips sit back. Our music today is brought to us by YogaFit. This is Tantra 2, Volume 2. So from here, we can place the block between the knees and the thighs. And having our strap close by, we could use this also, moving into boat pose, Navasana. From here, bringing the strap up, palms up. Hold the elbows in close to the waist. Now I'm going to turn sideways for this one so that you can see my alignment on this. Maybe you'll see my alignment. Okay, so having the elbows in tight, the spine is lengthened. Maybe just act surprised here. Automatically that could help to kind of reset and lengthen the spine. Pulling on that strap, we might hover the feet, pressing out through the outer blades of the feet, squeezing the knees into that block. We have the elements of contraction in the knees and expansion through the feet, stabilizing knees and hips. If you start to get a little shake or quiver, this is just the body, how it adapts. As long as there's no pain, bright lights, nausea or vomiting, you're okay if the body moves and shakes a little. Option to lengthen up a little higher. Speak. Speak. One more inhale. Option to hold it here, maybe lower the knees a little, adding in just a little bit of abdominal work here. We can hug the knees in close to the body and then release the arms, pressing out. Exhale, bringing it in. Inhale, reaching out, maybe even dropping back through the scapula, and then coming up again. So you're adding in this big extension of the abdominal wall. Just a little bit of abdominal work. Even if it's a pulse, working within a range of motion that could feel challenging, it could even feel a little uncomfortable, but deciding for ourselves as we listen to the body, go with your first instinct. Is that sensation of discomfort, is that a sign of damage or hurting the body? Or is that discomfort just work? Is it work? And is it really uncomfortable? Or is it just that's what work feels like? And practice acceptance with that. Santosha, advanced version. Couple more. When you're ready, relaxing, let's take that strap to the top of our mat beside us. Take the block away as well. Let's slowly scoot to the top of our mat. To go from seated to lying down, we extend one leg out. Both hands can go behind the thigh, or one hand by the thigh, one hand by the head and the neck. Contracting as we slowly lower down. Drawing both knees into the chest. Adding in a gentle rock side to side. Hi, Glory. From wherever we are, let's feel for our yoga block close by. Bringing the block between the knees, separating the feet so the knees and the hips are about hips width. Let's lower our feet down to the floor. For bridge pose, pulling back on the heels, we are going to feel a little bit of a slide on the tailbone, traction in the lower body, low down into the feet, pushing straight down into the feet, and then taking it back into the shoulders. We could always hold this, squeezing the block through our inhales and exhales. Or if you feel like your body still wants to move, add in a flow. Soft, squeeze the block lower down. Inhale, squeeze that block, lift the hips. Exhale, keep squeezing, soft breath. Shivaya. Sing it, Glory. One more, lift and lower if we're flowing, or just hold it in bridge. From here, lowering the hips. Let's bring the block in. Lowering our feet, keeping that block. Moving into a gentle sway with the knees. So we're moving into one of my favorite adaptations of a spinal twist. For this, I'm getting ready to twist my knees over to the right. So let's walk our feet to the left edge of our mat, and then we'll push into our feet. Scoot your hips over, and then roll the knees over to the right. Think about where the middle of the spine is and place the block from the middle of the spine down towards the low back and buttocks. And what we might be able to notice here is that we can almost lean back into that block. This could help to prevent over-rotation in the pose, preventing the effort of maintaining a twist in the pose. We can keep the head looking up at the sky. You could look to your right hand. Or we could look over to the left, so we're all twisted, spiraling the energy from the crown of the head, through the neck and the heart, all the way down out the tailbone. Notice, where is the breath? Where is the path of least resistance here? If the left lung is mostly open, imagining we're breathing into the left lung and then out from the right lung. You can add a little color to that. Inhaling beautiful blue, like a blue moon, rays of silvery blue moonlight. And then exhaling gold light from the right lung. I love you too. You make my heart happy. You're the best quarantine buddy ever. Seriously. I know. When you're ready, slowly remove that block. Let's bring our knees to neutral. Maybe reset the low back for a moment. To move that twist onto the other side. Let's walk our feet to the right edge of our mat. Pushing into the feet, twisting the knees to the left, placing our block at the low back and near the upper hip region. We could look in the direction of the twist. We could look straight up, or we could look over to the right. Om Namah Shivaya, everyone. Om Namah Shivaya. Notice the path of least resistance for the breath as this opens and stretches the right lung, breathing into the right lung and out from the left. So it's the power of suggestion we're using here to practice Surya Veda, breathing, invoking the energy of the sun. The color elements here could be inhaling gold light into the right lung and exhaling silvery blue light from the left lung. When you're ready, let's slowly remove that block from the low back. Coming back onto the tailbone, resetting the hips. We may even draw the knees to the chest once more, resetting the low back. We could use our strap, placing it just below the toe line, extending up towards the sky. Viparita Karani, legs up the wall. You could even hold on and take the feet out at a little bit of an angle, maybe even bend the knees. Long as the ankles are higher than the heart, it is legs up the wall. So we don't have to straighten the legs for this to be that pose. This pose can be expressed even if you had a block under your heels. This is also Viparita Karani. So just having the heels higher than the heart makes this pose legs up the wall. And we're looking not so much at a physical reflection of the pose to define it, but the energetic concepts that define the pose. From wherever we are, we could bring the knees in towards the chest and take the feet out wide, just like a standing straddle, supine straddle with the legs, drawing the knees in towards the armpits or the side ribs into our happy baby or dead bug, adding in that little rock side to side. So people will ask me a lot, is it okay to rock side to side in child's pose, or in knees to chest or in dead bug? It's okay. We just ask that you are cautious about rocking if you know of any existing osteoporosis in the spine, in the shoulder blades, the tailbone, or hips. Then we recommend that you proceed with caution if there's osteoporosis present, because that we are weight bearing right now when we're lying down on the floor, and any kind of rocking with osteoporosis has the potential to trigger a stress fracture. You're in the way, girlfriend. Can't see, girlfriend. Girlfriend. Lulu. Oh, God, you're so hard to move. It's like pushing a sack of potatoes. Just turned into high-intensity interval training with you. Hit yoga. Hit yoga. The next trend. Somebody come up with that. When you're ready, let's slowly come out of our happy baby dead bug. Release that strap. Now maybe give yourself a minute or two to move in any natural way. And give yourself a little bit of time to reposition your body, to find a comfortable place for a short meditation. Just guide us through a little bit of breathing. You get comfortable and lie down. I'm going to sit up. That way my voice projects a little better. So again, this will be just like 5 minutes, and this is a meditation where we are able to work on increasing the length of the inhale and the exhale, which could be increasing volume of the breath. I am going to time it. So from wherever you are, let's use the next few moments getting comfortable and noticing the breath. Notice the breath in the lowest part of the body as possible. Encourage the breath to move down into the lowest part of the body. Now start to count in your mind as each moment is passing when you breathe. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, however long that breath is. And then exhale 1, 2, 3. Just continuing to count each moment that's passing with every inhale and with every exhale. Making the breath seamless, so there's just a fraction of a moment when we move from the inhale to the exhale, exhale into the next breath. And again, I am timing it, so it'll be just a minute. We're almost there. Let's start to shape the breath a little bit. In this next minute, 3-part breath. This is something familiar to us. Inhaling 1, 2, 3. Exhale 3, 2, 1. And if your mind goes off track, just come back to that breath. Find it on the inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale 3, 2, 1. Let's stretch the breath out. One more count. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. And as we stretch the breath out, we might be moving the breath farther up into the chest, or we could even possibly be moving the breath out into different parts of the body. So maybe breathing more into the low back with that extra count. Breathing a little more into the side ribs or the waistline with that extra count. Steady rhythm, steady count of 4. Increasing it again. So now inhaling a count of 5. Start low, build the breath up to the side of the body, to the back of the body. Bring it up a little more to the sides, to the front, to the back, and up a little more. And as you exhale, slow exhale. If the breath is a little anxious to leave, exhale as if you're going to fog a mirror. Stretch that breath out. Or purse the lips like blowing out candles. This is our final stretch of the breath. Inhaling for a count of 6. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In this last minute, we have doubled the length of the inhale and the length of the exhale. Slowly, we've moved towards this bigger breath, practicing patience with the body, patience with Prana Vayu, Udana Vayu, those elements of energy that are regulating inhale and exhale energies. Almost there. Maybe just one more inhale. One slow exhale, and then return to your own natural breath. Breathing easy, we allow the awareness of this natural rhythmic breath to encourage just bits of movement so that we can safely eventually make our way up into seated and closing our practice. For those of us who might be taking care of our low backs today, or really any part of the spine, I recommend bending the knees first. Let the knees sway a little bit, and then maybe practice pushing into the feet and rolling over to one side, lying there for at least 2 or 3 breaths. We allow our bodies to just rest easy in this side-lying, sleeping child's pose. When it feels right, take your top arm, push away from the floor, and slowly stack the spine. Last of all, lifting through the neck and the head. So thank you everyone who joined me on the Facebook live feed today. I was doing this as a trial run for a video that will be posted onto the YouTube page. And also I will be doing another video. It won't be Doga next time. And that will also be flowing with props. That is to complement our online trainings that are now available with YogaFit training systems worldwide. We do have a yoga props training planned. We also have a yoga nidra coming up. We have a warriors training coming up. All of these being offered online right now, approved by Yoga Alliance. So please check us out at www.yogafit.com. Now, let's take our hands together, and in our spirit of oneness, let's draw in a big unifying breath together, and then let it go. Maybe another one like that. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells, a place of infinite love and infinite light. We are all in this place together, and we are one. Namaste, everyone. Special thank you to my assistant today, Gloria, Lulu, Ramirez. Thank you, everyone. If you have any comments, any questions, please feel free to private message me or comment below. Namaste, everybody. Namaste. Thank you, Gloria.